Hi, I'm Ed McDonald. For the special education law case analysis, we are looking at the Ben F.B. case. Little overview of this case. In this case, we have Benjamin F.B. as the child, Michael B. and Jacqueline F.B. as Benjamin's parents and the appellants, versus the Des Moines Independent Community School District and the Heartland Area Education Agency 11 as the appellees or the defendants in this case. A little bit of the background information on this case. At this time of the case in 2005, Benjamin was an 18-year-old young man. He had recently received a diploma from the Roosevelt High School in Des Moines, Iowa. Throughout Ben's academic career, he excelled, again from grades K through 12, and was currently enrolled at courses at Central Academy, which is located at the Des Moines Independent Community School District Central Campus and Papa John Center in downtown Des Moines. For Ben's senior year, he attended Roosevelt High School for morning classes and then drove to Central Campus for afternoon classes, where he was enrolled in the rigorous courses in AP classes, which counted towards college credit. Throughout Ben's academic career, he was also not considered by any school official to be a discipline problem. He only had minor offenses such as tardies or truancies, but nothing majorly pressing or anything on that line. Part of Ben's medical background, which proves to be relevant in this case and the premise of the appellant's argument, Ben had been receiving psychiatric services since middle school. He was diagnosed with oppositional defiant disorder, which is ODD, dysthymia, and then attention deficit hyperactive disorder, or ADHD. It was found that he displayed aggression, anger, and difficulty with self-control at a younger age. A note from Dr. Hopkins, who is Ben's psychiatrist at the time, shows that Ben's impulsivity creates messes in his life that are hard to resolve calmly and in a timely manner. But it is shown that he had been making steady improvements over his tenure or academic growth and as his age developed. So going to the altercation. The altercation occurred again in February 2005 when Ben was leaving Central Campus. He was noticed by an associate to be lighting a cigarette outside the front door or the main door of the building. When asked to go to the office, Ben refused, so the associate went to get the vice principal, and the vice principal came out and confronted Ben. After Ben was confronted by the vice principal, he admitted to smoking, but refused to empty his pockets and consent to any formal search. At that point, Ben took off to walk away or run, and Mr. Glau, I'm going to say, reached out and grabbed Ben as he was walking away. When this happened, Ben reacted, sparking physical altercation between the two. There were rolling around, the glasses flew off, and several strikes were inflicted on Mr. Glaus in multiple places. After the physical altercation, Ben ran away. As he was running away, a flask containing alcohol fell out of his pocket. Since after Ben was brought back to the office, he was charged with public offense. He was also charged with 4 violations of the Des Moines Independent Community School District's disciplinary policy, which included the intentional display of disobedience or disrespect, assault, disorderly conduct, and unauthorized possession of substances on a school grounds. It was recommended that Ben be considered for expulsion. With the expulsion, there comes an expulsion review team, which is a formal team to evaluate if an expulsion is really needed. This team conducted interviews with Ben, the head principal, Mr. McGlanahan, two of Ben's teachers, Mr. Marcellus and Mr. Rich, to try to get a good story about Ben's background. And it was recommended that he be expelled and spend the last 13 weeks of school in an alternative education program. From the expulsion, the parents or the appellants brought forth a manifestation determination, which was to determine whether the altercation was caused by Ben's disability. So the group met to determine if Ben's ADHD caused or was related to the physical conduct or the physical altercation. Within this manifestation determination, it was found that Ben had no IEP, no 504 plan, and he had no behavior goals related to his current behavior. There was also no pattern of behavior that was documented to this incident, and no school officials were aware of any previous incidents that have occurred. There was one previous incident at a younger age, and very similar to this one, in which Ben and a youth minister had a physical altercation, but that was not recorded, or the school had no present mind of what was going on. The staffing team decided that it was not in the best interest of Ben to return to Roosevelt High School, so they recommended an alternative placement plan. So the legal case, what the appellants or the parents were claiming, it was disputed whether or not Ben should have been expelled. The parents or the appellants argued that the Des Moines Independent School District did not have the legal authority to override the manifestation determination and expel Ben without educational services. So the manifestation determination decided that the ADHD did, quote, cause the altercation, or related to the altercation, but the school district thought differently. So the parents also are seeking declaratory relief and the removal of the expulsion from Ben's permanent record, and then the attorney fees. The district claimed that Ben should be expelled for the remaining 13 weeks of school and placed in an alternative education program to complete the remaining coursework necessary for his graduation. The district claimed to have no knowledge that Ben was eligible for individual behavior plan or individual education plan prior to the behavior that caused the disciplinary action. Ben had no IEP, no 504 plan, and the parents did not request to have a formal evaluation for special education services at any point. So the laws in effect here, we're looking at Federal Law 20 U.S.C. 1415, which is related to the return of a child to the placement from which the child was removed, unless the parent and the local educational agency agree to a change of placement as part of the modification of the behavioral intervention plan. Since there was no behavioral intervention plan in place, there was nothing to modify. The parents subsequently agreed to the change of placement later on after a couple of rounds of interviews and stuff that way. Another law is 20 U.S.C. 1415. If the school personnel seek to order a change in placement that would exceed 10 school days, and the behavior that gave rise to the violence of the school code is determined not to be a manifestation of the child's disability pursuant to subparagraph E, the relevant disciplinary procedure applicable to children without disabilities may be applied to the child in the same manner and for the same duration in which the procedures would be applied to children without disabilities. So essentially, since the school, they believe that the manifestation was not determined by his IEP or by his disability, he was able to be treated or punished the same as a non-disabled child. And then Federal Law 1415K, which looks at the protections for children not yet eligible for special education related services. Ben was not eligible yet because he was not identified as special education services. The Iowa Administrative Rules, Special Education 41.534, a child has IDEA protection as long as the public agency has prior knowledge of the disability. And then we're looking at Iowa Administrative Rules of Special Education 41.53.0, the authority of the school personnel. In this case, the idea that, or the fight that school personnel overruled the manifestation determination found. In the end, the overall decision was that the Des Moines Independent Community School District and Heartland Area Educational Agency prevailed on all substantive issues in this appeal, and the expulsion of Benjamin F.B. will remain in effect. So my response, personal response, so I agree with the court's decision after reading this case. Many reasons why I believe this. The first one was Ben had no formal IEP or 504 plan. School officials were not aware of previous incidents, Ben's work with Dr. Hopkins, or that Ben was taking medication Ritalin since he was in middle school. The school had no documentation, no record of any of these things. That Ben's parents testified. Ben's own mother testified that she had never requested an evaluation nor believed her son required special education services. Dr. Hopkins, Ben's psychiatrist, testified that Ben's issues were not a significant reason to request school accommodations. He believed things were improving and that it was not recommended for him to have accommodations. The appellants or the parents did not request a formal IDEA evaluation at all. Ben should have been removed in accordance to the Iowa Administrative Rules of Special Education 41.5307C because he inflicted bodily harm on another individual on school property, and the school did not have prior knowledge, which fits with Iowa Administrative Rules of Special Education Law 41.534 or U.S. Federal Law 1415. With that being no prior knowledge, none of the following were present. The parents did not express concern in writing. The behavior or performance demonstrated a need for an evaluation. There was no parental request for an evaluation, and there was no teacher request for or concern prior to the incident. The implications for the school team: over-communication is critical by both ends. Parents of the school district should request an evaluation of any student who has potential special education needs. This kind of covers both groups. And then incidents that violate the student code of conduct are tricky and the use of a manifestation determination are critical in making the proper disciplinary decisions. Questions for reflection are there students in your building you feel should be evaluated for special education services that have not yet been identified? What are the differences and the consequences for your actions found by a manifestation of the student's disability versus an action found not to be a manifestation of the student's disability? And why do you believe the parents did not have an IDEA evaluation completed on Ben?